Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Just a minute to go until we actually kick things off. I can see a few of you are already connected, which is amazing. So, for those of you who haven't used Livestorm before, this is the platform we're going to be using for the Foundation's Igniting Enterprise webinar series. If in the bottom right of your screens, you should have a few tabs. There's a questions tab. There's a chat icon. If you can just pop in there where you're tuning in from today, that'd be amazing. Hi, Rupinder, our lovely head of programs. Let's kick things off. Hi, Preetha. Lovely to have you here. Great. I'll let some of those comments come through. So welcome, everybody. This is the second webinar in the Peter Jones Foundation's Igniting Enterprise webinar series. My name is Kumar Hindocha, and I work as the head of partnerships for the foundation, and I'll be your host for the next 5 webinars. There's 5 webinars left. If you've missed the first one, which was with Paul Gilligan and the Magical Mushroom Company, you can find the full-length video on YouTube. That's the foundation's YouTube channel. And I believe Pearson actually are going to be working up some worksheets for you to use in the classroom. And basically, the purpose of these webinars is where we invite some incredible business founders to share their stories with you. But crucially, making it all relevant is our partner Pearson, who have carefully selected the entrepreneurs with us and basically given us some kind of guided questions with the view of helping you, the teachers, across the three curriculums, GCSE Business, A-Level, and the Tech Award, so that it matches with your curriculums and is completely relatable to your students. So a quick introduction to the Peter Jones Foundation. We're a registered charity with founder and president, well-known investor Peter Jones, yes, the one from Dragon's Den. And we are at the forefront of encouraging, educating, and empowering young people around the world in enterprise and entrepreneurship. And I guess towards the end of today's conversation, I'll be sharing a bit more about our kind of core programs that your school and your students can take advantage of, basically to give the best possible chances in furthering their employment, furthering their self-employment, or landing that place in a higher education setting. So I did a bit of housekeeping earlier. I can see some of you are managing to use the chat. Hi, Priscilla. I will just come on to you in a second. So this is the platform we're going to be using. Please, we want it to be a kind of a two-way questions. Any questions you have, please pop them into either the chat or the questions tab, and someone from our team will kind of push them towards me as we go through it. And just so you know, as per the first webinar, snippets of these recordings will be shared with all Pearson course teachers, as well as on the foundation social channels. So without any further ado, delighted to welcome Priscilla Israel from Sticky. Hi, Priscilla.
Oh, hello, guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly well.
Okay, perfect.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. Busy day every day. So yeah.
I bet. So we've got an amazing marketing video from Sticky, which we'll queue up in a second. But in your own words, do you just want to explain to the viewers today, what is Sticky all about?
So Sticky is making consumers' interaction 10 seconds or less through our operation ecosystem, which I'll be able to show you on my as a quick demo. And what we do is we resolve anything within the physical space with our stickers here. So we're replacing a QR code in an app, card machine, and with the stickers, you can see it's a well branded. It's represented like a mark of trust. We give our customers the ability to actually brand it. It has up to 5 to 10 years lifespan behind it. You can literally put in a microwave bend it. It's very thick and strong. It can survive any rough environment. Why are we using this? It's actually much more, let's say, cost effective for businesses instead of hardware. So we're mostly focusing around the software solution, which I'll be able to show you. We're a horizontal company that provides anything within the ecosystem, anything we provide that within the physical space and also virtually, but that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, just the physical space at around this period of time. So yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to try microwaving it. I love a challenge. I'm going to let you know what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. We actually got a challenge at work in how to destroy a sticky. Apart from putting it in a blender, obviously we destroy. But they've driven over it, washing machine. So it's very strong. So we send some stickers over, and you guys can try it. Just don't put it in a blender.
Amazing. Priscilla, you sent over a couple of videos. Shall I cue up the last one?
Yeah, the last one. Absolutely. Show that one. This is one of just emphasis. This is a small little, let's say, marketing, and this is one of the verticals that we started with when we first started. Yeah.
Got you. So, for our audience today, if you could just make sure your volume's turned up, because there is, I believe, some music on this one. Just give me a second. Wow, I wanted to ask you about that final, what we're seeing on the screen about the award winner a bit later.
Absolutely. I thought you were going to ask about the music.
I know how these royalty things go. You have to work with what you have, right?
Absolutely.
No, it's good.
That as a startup. So we won the Technology of the Year. This is at the Retail Expo. It's actually really a great testimony because we were competing with the likes of companies that have been for 20 years, well established, have up to 600 employees. But our technology was really unique because we can actually provide anything within that physical space. So the judges were Marks and Spencer, we had Costa Coffee, we had Itsu, and we had Asda as well. And they asked, what they were looking for was a digital label solution within the physical space. And what we can provide for them was something that can actually engage consumers with just a simple tap on their phone. I don't know if you guys can see, it's 10 seconds or less, where they can go instant in and then pay for items without having to download or do a QR code that would take ages and then down. It was just providing something that was so simple, and they loved that. And also just the data aspect behind it, just engaging with customers as well, getting feedback. So this is how we won that. So yeah, it was a great day.
Amazing. And I'm guessing they ranked you, as kind of things you've covered there, on like convenience, efficiency, things like that. And one thing that's quite apparent on your website is this word transactional. Yes. And I guess my first question from you is, as you kind of find uses for Sticky, how many would you say of your clients are there to use your platform, use your product in order to drive sales and make money, and versus, I guess, some of the companies, some of your clients that are there to kind of drive engagement?
Yeah, so in all of our customers, we have about 35 customers, and I would say all of them. Now, I'll give you a nice case study. When we first started, Giving you a little bit more background on a sticky, it's not so much the sticker itself, it's the no code and low code platform that we have. So the low code is where we get developers to actually go onto our platform and add something extra that would actually be deployed in the environment. So it can be like Trulio, would like to create maybe a Halo help, the one that I'll talk about later on. And then the other one, the no code, would be, let's say you're, for the example now, it would be Boston Burger, sorry. Boston Burger, when they came to us, they just wanted something that would actually just get consumers to tap and pay. But then eventually what they done is they used the stickers like discovery trails within the local community area. So they had the sticker in the job center, they had it in HSBC, they had it in NatWest, and this would be on the co-working space in NatWest. So people who work in NatWest, they'll have it on top of their fridge or on the board, and they'll just tap on it, order the food they want, and then Boston Burger will get a notification saying this is the food, etc. So that local network effect around it, it's that mark of trust. They already know when they do tap, they're going to get something good happening in the end. But the beautiful thing about the customer engagement with Boston Burger, when they first started with Sticky, they started with only £800 MRR. And then now they're making about 12,000 MRR through the Sticky one. Is we're able to create virtual stickers on their website to get customers to tap instead of having Deliveroo and Just Eat. These are aggregated models that actually take 30% of their revenue if they were to go directly to them. Right. With us, we don't take any revenue at this period because obviously our main focus point is growth and awareness of what Sticky is for the first, let's say, 2 years. So that is something that was a great testimony to sort of show you that it's not just the customer engagement, it's also problem solving for businesses as well. So one of another customer when we first started, this is mid-market, Graves Hotel, they wanted table servicing. After table servicing, we started to see them build things on the dashboard. So they build a check-in and check-out for the employees. And then they created stickies in the room service. And remember, a sticky outweighs a card machine. Why? A card machine is hardware, very expensive, but with a sticky, you never have to worry about connectivity if you have a beer garden. So the card machines never work on without the connectivity. Our stickers, you can just tap and turn it into a card machine. So that's the cost effectiveness where they don't have to get different solution. We're one-stop shop there. So it's both. It's saving costs and also increasing their revenue. That's what we provide for our customers.
Gosh, I can completely sympathize with the situation. I think I speak for everyone. We've been in a beer garden somewhere in the sticks, enjoying time with friends, and the connectivity is just not there. And you have to kind of go inside, and it just I can totally see, how your product fits into an environment like that, as well as many others. So just Priscilla, if we just zoom out a little bit in terms of your background then. So full disclosure for all our audience here today, we actually know you, don't we, as a foundation, as as like an alumni that's come through our yeah. So do you mind just giving like a bit of background in terms of your experience before Sticky and just how you came to be there today?
Oh yeah, so I actually took a gap year before I went to uni, and I went to the Peter Jones. Probably one of the best experiences of my life. It was really good because I think personally, this Peter Jones should be a fundamental in every school. The reason at that period of time, I wanted to get into business, but I didn't know exactly what avenue I wanted to get into. But going to the Peter Jones, I was able to actually understand how business models are actually built from scratch. So it's like this micro experiences you have. We had to, I guess you guys probably do the same thing. You had to actually come up with a real business if you're actually going to pitch to the angels, or we're going to create a virtual business. Mine was virtual because, again, I knew I was going to go to university in the end. And the other bit about it was also around the experience enabled me to understand the financials, how to build that projection that, you have to know your numbers when you're trying to understand how you're going to increase your revenue, save the cost you burn, etc. Those elements, again, I used it during uni. I needed to know my spending. And the most effective one was networking.
Okay.
Networking is the way me and James actually met. Networking is how we've been actually building Sticky, and networking in a very professional way and consistency around that. Guerrilla marketing tactics. We are a startup. We have a small budget. So these little strategies I had to learn from there, implemented it here. Obviously, I went to university and came out. I got an opportunity to work in cybersecurity, one of the best industries, because it opened more of a layer of understanding technology there.
Right.
And the whole university, I had an idea. I wanted to execute an app called Plot. And Plot it's designed the same sort of model like Sticky, but it was an app. You find the cool places to go, or if you want to go to a museum, it's set up in a certain way, and then you go, etc. But at that period of time, I was still learning how to go to VCs. It was a bit of a struggle. So I went back and I just started working. I understood the business model. And then me and James are part of a certain network. And we really discuss about the challenges within the physical spaces, what we go through as consumers. Why isn't there something so quick and so transactional? But then when you think about it, when Sticky was being built, this is before COVID, this is something that we would have, even regardless of COVID or not, we would have already built behind that. So that's how we became there.
Amazing. And you mentioned James. So for the purpose of the audience, James Garner is, I believe, your current CEO.
Yeah. James Garner is co-founder. Yeah, he's the he deals with the technicals. He's the CEO, deals with technical. I deal with the commercial side of the business.
Amazing. Sounds like a dream team. And so Plot was your first side hustle, your first venture. Is that fair to say?
Yes, yeah.
And Sticky is your second.
So basically, Plot was the first. As every business entrepreneur, it's not your first business is not going to be your most successful one. You just have to learn. Yeah, but it was the first. It was understanding how to understanding consumers' engagement, understanding the fintech background. That was the baby behind that.
Okay, and cybersecurity is obviously a very important topic nowadays. But it seems to be one of those things where maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but seems to be one of those things where people understand its importance, but not necessarily how it works. And I guess the time that you got into the industry, it was probably still evolving, still forming, still finding its feet. And what did you learn from actually being employed in that sector?
So basically, what I learned was how each business model is built around. When you work with SaaS businesses, they work on a particular fast stream. There's no the technology is consistently evolving. It's never one trick pony where it's just that technology. Like, for example, the QR code world, they only focusing on just one sector. The QR code is never developing. There are never extra layers behind it. But the cybersecurity is always consistently has to involve, because the hackers, ethical hackers, they always have to figure out the best way to make the solution even stronger for so it's one of those things that I learned is our technology has to consistently evolve. We cannot sit and just be, this is good enough. We consistently have to evolve. The other beautiful thing about cybersecurity is understanding, the GDPR processes behind it. This comes as a global awareness. This is something that obviously with Sticky, we're very, very conscious about. Consumers' consent behind that. The business model with cybersecurity, again, when you look at the commercial side, it's how they actually navigate on let's say engaging between new businesses, existing businesses, how to grow fast within organic sales, all of that. So I was able to look at that in a much more different way. where when I looked at the technical side, it was very more driven on how to develop it consistently, the software, how to get, so it's, you just learn, they're both on the same pace. They both have to consistently evolve.
Right.
The
Okay.
commercial and the technology.
Amazing. We just got a question that came through, which I'm eager to ask you straight away. So talking about the kind of skills you developed, especially under the foundation as alumni, you mentioned networking.
Yes.
That's something that many people struggle with. So the question says, what tips and tricks can you share, both in terms of physical networking and the opportunities for building networks online?
So physical networking, you have to go to these shows, exhibition shows, just go to all of them. I'm not saying go to everyone, be quite strategic in terms of what you're picking.
Okay.
If you are, it depends, if you're focusing in the property sector, go to the most particular property sectors that actually add value to your business or whatever you're building. I would say the virtual is really good because it's instant. So what I still do now, especially raising around, I usually go and find the specialists, venture capitalists who specialize in fintech sector. So I just go find them, I add them. And the one thing what I always advise is when you do go to these events, talk to these decision makers, ask them questions, ask for their emails, and do say, do you know what, I'll send you an email and I'll let you know where I am, what I'm building. Keep that dialogue going, because to be honest with you, the way we've been able to close the pre-seed and where we are now seed stage, it's been those consistent dialogues. And they may start as like, oh, it's a bit weird, I'm trying to talk to someone who doesn't know me. No, just keep a small dialogue, keep them updated on what your new venture, either you're building a business or you're either building a career, because at the end of the day, you never know where this networking can take you. So just keep those dialogue going. If you see them on LinkedIn, maybe it's their birthday, happy birthday, what are you doing? If you see them, maybe they got an award, say this is really amazing. Just keep touching base. Obviously not, annoyingly, but yeah.
No, definitely. I completely agree with everything you've said there. And would you ever recommend or advise anyone to pay for opportunities to network? Like we mentioned at the start that you won an award at an expo, right? Would you ever run a trade stand and pay a few £100s for that opportunity? In the same way that you're meeting VCs now that you're kind of going down the investment route, would you pay to pitch? And what's your view on that?
So with us, the way we actually got to the technology of the year, we had to pay for a stand.
Right.
And that was the only thing we had to do, because we were also competing with other QR codes, card machines, and etc. And technology, we all had to pay for a stand to get. And the reason why we pay for a stand is because you want to get customers who do come and ask about the technology. I do agree. You do have to pay. I would say paying for a stand is a great way to network. I don't. If you don't have the financials, then I say attend the event, and that's probably better. But yeah, I agree with you. It's good to, if you have the finance, absolutely pay for it.
Amazing. And another question that's come through, I guess, probably relates to Plot as well, your first venture. How did you come up, Priscilla, with the actual concept that underpins Sticky?
So the concept underpins Sticky. James had he had a way. So basically, he had a way of thinking about how consumers don't have to engage with apps. So he was looking at, like, he was playing around with the stickers. Just to let you know, these are 7th edition. We've had to change it consistently, the material of the sticker. But the first stickers that we had was a very thin sticker. And what he would do at work, because he's a developer, he would just play around with it. So he created like a discovery trail games around it. But when we met, I said to him, we need to change it, not just to specialize on discovery trails, because that's the vertical James wanted to go. We have to focus on how to make Sticky more profitable. So make a wide horizontal layer behind it. It was a bit of a risk at the time, but when COVID actually kicked in, it made a lot of sense behind it. Yeah.
Okay. And I've got a question here from Preeta Sandeep. Just before I go into that question, what's your team size now, Priscilla?
We have about a team of 6 now.
Team of 6, and are you actively recruiting, or do you have a vision for the next 12 months of how many staff you need?
Yeah. So right now, as I mentioned before, we finished our pre-seed. We're now in a seed stage. We've been able to bring in an incredible MRR. It's been a year and I guess 9 months to get where we are now. We will be recruiting. We are recruiting at the moment. We have a plan which is split between the commercial. So we have a plan of hiring up to 10 salespeople, 3 marketing, about four customer success, and I'm just explaining the commercial side of the business there, and also around commercial success. Also, we have logistics, so that's about 6 logistics, and then James has his side on developers.
Technical side.
Yeah, technical developers. So we will be consistently recruiting great talent.
Amazing. So it sounds like a very exciting time. But the question is, I guess, around kind of company culture, employee happiness. How can you share any strategies you've used as you've been growing to keep employees motivated and working towards the same goal?
So the one rule I have on because obviously commercials is tied different from developers. So the one rule I have is the hiring style, or the people that are within our team that we have, is to make sure that everyone is running Sticky like it's their own business. So it's that ability to give people the freedom to do what they want. In terms of what sort of sectors they want to target. Obviously, they'll have the sectors, etc. But it's just that flexibility around that. It's that freedom. We do have an open door policy. We have socials, etc. The one difference is that we're actually working remotely from home. So I would say about 90%. However, because we're now growing, it's going to be in the physical environment. We work office spaces, so we'll be able to see how we can navigate that. We are a young company. Our culture is growing. We want to, we're empowering Sticky as rich on innovation, rich on empowering our employees within Sticky itself. So I guess so let's just give you a background. We've been having the same staff that we had from last year. They're still working with us, and that's a
good sign. Yeah.
They're still working with us. They want to expand more. So I would say we have a healthy culture, and it's just the free aspect. We're not kind of creating a strict environment. We want people to work wherever location they want. We want people to, again, obviously fulfill the object of their job role, but still have that flexibility there.
Amazing. And retention is obviously something you're doing really well, and is probably the key sign of any good culture. Just before we move on to a few more questions, Tom's written in a question in the chat. So obviously you're running a successful, young, growing business, but you yourself are a young entrepreneur. So what character trait do you feel you've had to use or work on as well in order to be successful?
I'd say maybe consistency and persistent. Consistent is because to just continue as an entrepreneur, especially in this environment of today, the economy of today. It's there's a lot that goes down, but it's just that consistency. I would say persistent as well. I would say having always being optimistic, taking chances. I would say I don't know. It's being quite intuitive with things. If something's not working, we're not going to do the same thing consistently and expecting different results. So that innovation, we're very innovative. I always want to empower other people to come up with ways that they think it's comfortable, that all they think it would work, and then collectively we come up with a solution.
What about Priscilla? What about the thing to work on? So in terms of not trying to dig any dirt here, but I guess something you identified that you was limiting the ability for you to either run the business successfully, that you had to literally work on and consciously develop.
Oh, so what? Something I had to develop? Oh, yeah. Gosh, where do I start? No. So I guess it was the flexibility. I'm very let's try everything. It's a very stupid move when you're a startup. You don't have the capacity to try everything or the time scale. That was really bad. Time expectation and management. Oh, that was a learning point as well. I guess, time management, expectation. Also, just being coherent on a vision. You're consistently think this is how it should go, and you learn it's not. And that. So those are the things. And and burnout as well. That is it's not good.
Is that something you've suffered from?
Yeah, absolutely. You need to have a balance. The first year because the first year I was focusing on getting new business for the company.
Okay.
It was literally my drive as we were hiring. And the expectation was to make sure that we at least had some good pipeline. And to be able to then go and report back to our existing venture capitalists, this is what we have in the pipeline. This is when we're going to execute it. So that burnout of it really it demotivated me slowly. So I had to I've started to just take it easy. So
nice. Harder said than done. So you mentioned in terms of being successful in a seed round, which a little bit of research has shown that I think it was just over £300,000.
Yeah, 300.
Was that EIS funding that you received?
So we had 10 angel investors.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 of them. And then the other one was from SFC, which was SEIS fund.
Okay.
And then during our process, we raised again, which we're putting it on the books. We raised again about 170 in that. So so total about 470 in total, that we've raised. Because but the 470 that we raised, it's been angel investors in that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just pre-seed, not seed stage, pre-seed.
Right. Okay. And if you could frame your response to the next question, so it's kind of completely understandable to the young audience that will be in the classrooms watching this, hopefully. Can you talk us through the process and challenges involved in getting that investment, and any tips you'd give to young entrepreneurs thinking of pitching a business idea?
I would say the challenge is going to be when the pre-seed was around creating a good deck, getting in contact with VCs, because VCs have I don't want to say it in a horrible way, but they have a very short attention span. So sending a deck that has about, 15 slides, it's not going to do it. That was a challenge there. And then putting it onto just, let's say, up to 7 slides so they can get what Sticky is all about, which is already a complicated description unless we have a demo. That was a challenge. One, it was just getting consistent feedback from VCs, which you never do. So we had to be very consistent, persistent again. Attended a couple of venture capitalist events, meeting face-to-face, trying to do demos. again, the challenge was we had an expectation when we were going to close the round. Obviously, prior to that, I was still working. So it was literally a lot of work to do in that period of time, and not being to executed it. We wanted to execute it in September, but we actually closed the round in end of November, which was still good. So that's going to be 100% challenge for startups, and also just knowing the right VCs to go to. You know, the bad thing that happens when you're raising around, you have this sense of urgency. So you literally just you want to go with any VC that would say yes. And for me personally, I would say it's a good thing. However, it is quite dangerous, because as soon as you get the round, you know, some VCs may be very actively involved and may change your vision, and then the other ones you may not hear from them ever again. I would say we were quite lucky we never heard from us. So that is the challenge you're going to get. Those are the challenges. It's have an Excel, have a list of all the VCs you reach out to. Each VC would give you a response. Some of them never do. You're going to get maybe 7 out of 10 that will not respond back. But those who do, write down the notes. So when you do another raise, you can go back to them and say, look, this is what we improved. So yeah.
Amazing. A question that Pearson set was around the development of your app. So what was the timescale in terms of the development, and what issues did you face along the way?
Okay, so the app, it's not an app, it's a sticky. So the sticky started in 2020. That's when the development started. James started creating the stickers more tangible. It took about 6 months in development process. It had to be created on the no code platform, which is the dashboard behind that. Also, there was a lot of testings. Remember, we're built around a Python model on our dashboard, so a lot of language had to build on that. So we only started with the one flow. With the flow, our representation of solutions that can be resolved in business environments. So one of our business may want the one flow was just a payment. You know, it can be a check-in, it can be a flow is just a business solution, you know. So we only started with the payments. Again, keeping in mind we had to with a sticky had to be built as an open API. So it takes long to create an open API, because you want to integrate with other payment solution, you know, other integrations in that perspective. And also we were using Stripe at the period of time. Stripe is very expensive for payments. It takes 1.4 plus 20p per transaction, which is really expensive. And that was a challenge, because when we were going around to, let's say, small businesses, they wouldn't take that. They would be like, that's a really high interest. We'd rather go with another platform, another solution, keeping in mind we were still trying to build the integration. So 6 months to get all of that, and at the same time pitch it to investors.
So API, just for everyone on the call, is application programming interface, which basically is two systems talking to each other, is the simplest way of putting it. So you focused on payment. Would you say that was a deliberate, like an MVP, like a minimum viable product that you decided to test?
Absolutely, yeah. That because payments is how we were going to make the money realistically. We could have sold it as a SaaS solution, which we're going to do as Discovery Trails. But if we want to be a monopoly in the future in what we're building as a horizontal company, the payments had to be created there. So that way, if we were to go to the likes of I guess Asda, or the likes of Waitrose, or any sort of payment, retail or hospitality, any sector, they're always going to want to integrate into the payments. So remember, we do Google or Apple Pay for customers. So we wanted to make that very, very simple.
Okay. So you knew it was going to be central to any solution you were building going forward.
Those are the things that we were learning as it was getting built.
Right. And I want to just spend a bit of time talking about your brands. Website looks amazing. The domain actually for the website is a .to,
Yeah.
which a quick Google told me it's a Tonga.
Yeah.
Domain. Is that your background? Is that where your family's from?
No, it's not from Tonga. No. So wanted to create the website a little bit more different to represent the sticky uniqueness. It's built around the Google platform itself as well. So we just wanted the TO to be different from a .com, if that makes sense. How much different can we go? Yeah, that's it. It makes more sense on that.
And what investments have you made, Priscilla, to make this a recognized brand?
So realistically, the pre-seed, we obviously had a small budget on marketing. However, the way to make it recognizable has been around the customers that we've built so far, and also our partners. So for the likes of WorldPay, it's a great partnership we have. They have their own 20% of the world. 51% of the world. And what we've done with them is we have a great contract where they're putting us into our go-to-market leisure and park sectors. So if you go to a holiday park, what we're trying to do right now is to make sure that sticky branding is recognized. So the consumer's journey starts from checking in, where the customer will tap a sticky. And then usually with holiday parks, either they have holiday homes, or they would have like maybe a hotel there. When you go to the room, they'll have a sticky there. So I guess in a nutshell, we've just been using our customers to create that awareness. However, we do have a vision for the next move, which is the seed stage we're doing at the moment. And we'll be spending a heavy lot of money to get the sticky awareness. Our main objective is to get 20% of the UK to recognize sticky, like they recognize a QR code. So just to answer that question, it's really just our partnership, our customers in that.
That's amazing. It's quite a unique strategy. And when you say 20% of the UK market to recognize it, sounds like a big task. Do you segment your audience? Do you go for particular ages that you know are going to resonate with it and use it?
No, we it's more about the verticals we go in. Right now, our go-to-market is, again, leisure and holiday parks. And then it's the retail sectors. So when you think about the likes of Wix or Currys, we're doing some POC with them. And when you go to a Curry, they'll have a sticky there, we're really depending on that in that process.
Amazing. So your intellectual property, is it protected with a patent or a copyright?
It's a patent. So one of the biggest bits that we invested into when we got the round was to make sure we patent the bits that needed to. And yeah, it is. Remember, we can't patent the people tapping on it because it's an NFC. So we can't do that because NFCs have been around for years. So what we had to patent is around how the customers actually engage in there, how they tap, and an engagement. That's more on a technical breakdown, which James would have to break that one bit there. But yeah, we our first investment was to make sure that we pattern those small intellectuals.
Right. And did that steer come from the investors? Was that like a must-have before the investment was concluded?
No, we were quite cheeky. It's after we got the money, so we can afford it.
Right. Nice. Like it. It's all about hustling sometimes.
Yeah.
Your social media posts have a real focus on your products having a social purpose to help people who might have had their drink spiked, for example. So how important, as a product owner, as a business owner, is serving a social purpose to you?
Yeah, so, when I went to university, my background is politics with international relations. So majority of my degree was all about social impact. I've done a lot of work in development programs, international development programs, working for the likes of the UN for my internship, Uganda's Foreign Office. And social impact it's literally embedded in me. So the likes of using something like Halo, it's a great start. We are doing other things. Halo was a great conviction. One, reading the articles about females getting spiked, or their drinks getting spiked. Sticky being a great solution. One is, it's not just the spiking of the drinks. Also, you can have the stick in the back of the toilet. You may, pass, not, you'll maybe have vomiting, you're sick or etc. You just tap on it. The thing about it, once you tap, you don't have to make any calls or whatsoever. That call goes directly to the security. Then they'll know where you are. Remember, Sticky would always know where you are, and you never have to put in the location you're in. And also, Sticky would always remember the customer. So that's why it adds a great value with Halo. So yeah, it's great there.
That's amazing. What an amazing use for it. And so over COVID, I guess, when people were less out and about, what other impacts did the pandemic have on your business?
So it's quite interesting. When we actually started the Sticky, we got our VC in. Our money dropped. Our money came in around 2021. That's when we got the VC round, and it was exactly at that time when lockdown became even more serious. So we were like, oh no, we're completely out. But what COVID actually created for us was expanding opportunities and building pipelines. I wouldn't say it restricted us. It restricted us from actually going to meetings or actually doing live demos face-to-face, etc., because our live demos are much more they have more conviction than an actual one virtually. It gave actually a Sticky the ability. So for example, we're building a relationship with the likes of Costa Coffee, and when we went up to them, they had, if you remember during COVID, there was a challenge where the shops, you couldn't go into the shops. You kind of had to, like the likes of Costa Coffee or Starbucks, they had to take your card. They had to take your card without your present to tap, because you couldn't go into the shops. But what we were able to pitch to them was, why don't you just have a Sticky outside the window and get the customers to tap instantly without having the queue, etc. Wow. And it's one of those conversations where they go, oh, we have our own QR codes. The thing about the QR codes, customers didn't want to tap on the QR codes. It was how do you get customers to engage quicker on that? So these are little quirky things we were able to pitch them, was around window shopping. So we done a webinar where it was around a small market in Bradford and how to get customers, not small shops in Bradford, how to get customers to them. So these are small retailers selling, I guess, vintage items, but they can't open their shops. But then imagine it's just having that sticker outside the window, call it window shopping, and customers can tap, pick the item they want, and then someone inside the shop can just give it to them, or they can actually get the delivery. So it really didn't restrict us. I guess we became more creative. As anyone knows, in time of crisis, the recession in 2008, that's when fintech was birthed. And right now, any time of crisis, innovation is empowered. So we're able to become more creative. And this is how we build even more flows for Sticky, creating an ecosystem.
Wow, that sounds amazing. To our audience, please keep your questions coming in. They're great, and it's leading to a really vibrant conversation with Priscilla about her company, Sticky. A question just came in from Samaya Sake. Did you see yourself becoming an entrepreneur when you were younger?
That's a hard one.
Anyone in the family was an entrepreneur before?
Yeah, I do have quite a lot of entrepreneurs. I guess I always knew I was going to do my own thing. I'm not good at walking a straight line. I like to path my own thing. I've done a bit to get into the Peter Jones or the recommendation for the Peter Jones, I used to do local fashion shows in the area where I'd get the local community colleges, kids, they'll bring in their design, and then we host the fashion show, and it was sponsored by Princess Trust at my local church. So I always had that entrepreneurship. I'd done the dog pog where I'll get the local dogs, take them for a walk, get my sister's friends and my friends, split the money. So I always had that, always had that hustling mentality, you know. So yeah.
Oh, evidently, that's amazing. Just while we've got a few minutes left, actually, there's a couple of questions coming in, so I'll park what I was going to say. Is there anyone in particular that inspires you, and why?
Anyone who, oh God, I guess, you know, my sister and, you know, my mother, you know, they're very hardworking individuals. My mom is a mental psychiatrist. She actually inspires me. You know, this is she, you know, she was raising us while she was doing her PhD. So I guess I picked up a lot of hardship and determination from her. And that was always been an inspiration. My sister's doing the same. She's going to be, I think, an incredible mental health psychiatrist for childcare. And with her as well, very consistent, and the way she knows how to create great research around that inspires me. So I guess, yeah, my mum, my sister.
That's really sweet. That's really amazing. And I guess the point there is role models don't have to be some big name celebrity that you see on TV. It can be someone that you know very well and knows you, because that has its own value. So
absolutely. It's what you actually experience physically. That's
No, definitely. And I'm going to change this question slightly. So your day-to-day life, and you mentioned kind of de-stressing and trying to avoid burnout again. Maybe that means saying no to a few more things, work-wise, even socially-wise. Is there any habits you form during your day? Things that you listen to? Do you listen to podcasts when you're driving? Something like, do you sing in the shower? Is there anything that you've developed as like a mechanism in your day where you can de-stress, or conversely, stay in tune with your industry and wider business trends?
So I guess running, when I run, I tend to listen to podcasts. I guess you guys probably listen to Stephen Bannon. Is it Stephen Bannon?
Yeah.
I love the what do you call it, for the CEO. I love the interviews he has, because I tend to really have a sense of understanding their challenges and how they overcome it, and it kind of rings a bell in what we're currently experiencing. So I guess podcasts are really good. I have a network of friends who've been, basically, they started their business. They're actually from the Peter Jones. They started their businesses while I was at uni. That's a good de-stress, because it's great dialogues we have, even though a bit of banter, but it's good conversations that we build behind that. So I guess the networking of my friendships, and I like to go for long walks. It gives me a clear mind. There's some sort of energy or something that happens there. Traveling is good. Obviously, I haven't had the leisure to travel because there's a lot that needs to be done at the moment to get that period. But just going to Scotland, great opportunity. So yeah.
Amazing. And what would you say to a teacher listening in today that perhaps it's the first time they've come across the Peter Jones Foundation, and they're not affiliated to our Tycoon Enterprise competition, or they're not affiliated to our National Entrepreneur of the Year competition, which runs through our enterprise academies? What would you say to a teacher in a position, or a head teacher at a school like that,
who's never been in a Peter Jones? I would say find your feet. I get them. I understand. I get the impression that Peter Jones is empowered around innovative ideas, and because it is, find your feet and find what empowers whatever direction you want to go in with a conviction and just show the value behind it. And I'm very confident it will be executed in the way you want it to be executed. So it's one of those things. It's, for me, it's the same thing. I tend to just watch what's around me, what's missing, what can I add more. When I was working in the corporate environment, and just listening to the things that are not actually being mentioned, and then just adding that extra value there. I say finding your feet there.
Amazing. We've got a couple more minutes, and there's an interesting question that came through. I think you touched on this earlier when we were talking about the expo, and you had to buy that trade stand, in order to have that kind of foot in the door alongside would-be competitors in the industry, QR code kind of type companies and things like that. How do you deal with competition as a founder?
I find competition very empowering. What we learn around how to make Sticky very defensible, and to our vision is to be a monopoly, is the competition around. I like to educate myself around it. There's a couple of competitions out there that we looked at. I would say, if you guys heard of Sunday App, I really, it was one of these apps that came out during COVID as well. They came out just the same period of time. And I was really struggling to understand how they raise 100 million on a seed stage. And the more I started to analyze, dig more, I realized the founders behind it, they were quite smart about how they did it. One, they created a very, I don't want to be rude, but it's a very generic app that anyone can get. But what they done was they all run restaurants. They all came from tycoon restaurants background, and they took advantage of that moment. And they said, you know what, let's create a QR code app that we can actually use in our 900 restaurants collectively, and go and pitch it to investors. Absolutely incredible. I wasn't inspired by the technology that they had. I was more inspired by their execution plan. So the thing that I love, the thing that I've learned about the competition space, is not working hard, is working smart. So how I find competition is, for me, it really inspires me. I want to learn what they're doing so we can do better. I go on the website, understand what kind of customers they have. Okay, they specialize in only on hospitality. Let's pitch to them what we can do operationally, how to improve productivity with their employees. So it's those things, just learning your competition. Don't see it as a threat, be empowered.
Amazing. One thing I'm definitely going to take away from our conversation today is a character trait that you've kind of built into a business, right? Is that consistency that you talk about so much. When it comes to consistency, how do you ensure that the quality of your service that you're giving to new clients and in the solutions and the creativity is always at that top level? Do you mystery shop your own team? Do you do things like that?
So there's a thing that I done where I would randomly ring and pretend to be a customer just to see how they're going to pick up,
Yeah. Just you change your voice.
Yes. It gives me an insight of what we can do better. But how do we create our technology better than the competitive market? We have this thing within our technology where each customers that we have on board, they have to give us feedback in terms of what Sticky can do better. A lot of competitive solutions out there, they may not have the flexibility to do it because their technology is just it's basically built in one layer, or they may feel like, oh, if they give us feedback, then we have more work to do. What we build is a no-code platform. That means we can create everything in real time. So it's our job to make sure that everything that they want to be built, or the add-ons, that we get feedback so we can actually make it even better in real time for them. So it's always feedback from our customers. This is how actually Sticky became more agile and more I guess more flexible in terms of creating that ecosystem. It was those consistent feedback from our small customers that we had, which we called it customer love. Because it helps us. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's amazing. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I found it definitely enlightening, and I hope our audience, well, I know they definitely did, just by the kind of questions and things that they've been asking. So thank you so much for your time today. Thank you to Pearson as well. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Like I say, recordings will be shared and snippets will be shared of our conversation today. And just for everyone, just before we say bye to Priscilla, it's worth mentioning that our next Igniting Enterprise webinar is just over a month away. It's on the 17th of November. It's always on a Thursday, always 4 to 5. So please join us again. And we're going to be talking with Richard North. Amazing, completely different type of sector. But again, a very interesting, unique story, as we had today with Priscilla. So thanks once again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.